thought you were just going to say bullshit for a second there.
I mean, I would never just say bullshit to you. I would dance around it for 5 sentences.
Okay,
which I'm about to do right now.
Here it comes.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Oh, we're here. Good morning. It's the Final Transmission podcast. It's Sam Russo. It's Jamie Carruthers. It's one horror movie a week from the dawn of time till the end of time. How are you doing this morning, Jamie?
I am doing so well. I'm having a great day. I've had
You've
a
really
great
turned a corner.
weekend. Yeah. All this talk of Ben Weasel and nipples on the Patreon. If you're not paying the $5 a month or whatever it is, you're missing out on some absolute twaddle.
Some weaselly nipple banter this morning.
Yeah. How are you, Sam? How are you doing?
Hanging in there, man. No complaints. Ready to rip the ass off this Sunday morning. Oh boy, do I love recording in the morning time.
Just gets out of the way, doesn't it?
It's just better. I'm ready. I'm good. I'm hyped.
It's nice not doing it after a day's work.
Yeah, not having
That's the thing.
the slog of the day behind you.
Yeah.
The man having just rendered soul from bone all day long.
Yeah.
We're in quite the opposite position today.
The man. When you picture the man, who do you picture?
Ben Small.
Nice. I was going to say Ben Weasel, but...
I picture a guy in a grey suit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I bet you look good in a grey suit, though.
Grey is all right on me, yeah. I wore a grey suit to Claire's brother's wedding. I think it's the only time I felt comfortable and looked okay in a suit. I look terrible in suits. I look ridiculous.
So you wore a suit to that wedding, because to Kieran's wedding you wore like sweatpants and a stained T-shirt or something, right?
Not. I dressed well for Kieran's wedding. I wore a white Oxford shirt, grey tailored slacks, and yeah, sure, checkerboard Vans. But I thought that was the vibe. Also, I was working that wedding, Jamie. I had to play.
Yeah, I mean, I was working that wedding too.
You had to play too, yeah. What did you wear?
I wore a bridal party suit. I was a groomsman.
Oh, yeah, of course you were. You were a groomsman. Yeah, you had an absolute whistle and flute situation going on. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, that wedding had the come-as-you-are vibe that I wasn't ready to fully engage with. So I thought I dressed smart, but I guess the reviews are in and not so much. I've worn some absolute shite to weddings before because I just don't know what to do. I can't.
Yeah.
I'd look so bad in suits. I once wore a comic strip shirt in the pop art style with phrases like OMG and LOL written all over it. I just do not know what to do.
I had a bit of a Dickie Bow and suspenders period in my life.
Well, so did every like late 20s man for about 5 years by the look of every wedding photo I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think when fabrics, all the rage.
When you're a bit fatter, they're a bit forgiving, I think.
Is that the move, is it? Chunky
yeah, I think
knit.
so.
Yeah, okay. Fair dues. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to wear to a wedding ever. I have a nice grey suit now.
Well, there you go. You're the man.
That's all I got. I am the man.
You're the man now, dog.
Family man. Family man. Family man.
Stop it, or Greg Ginn is going to sue us.
That's true. That was nearly 10 seconds. We could get in serious trouble. He's probably got all kinds of AI out there detecting Black Flag lyrics online.
My friend made a print that said black coffee and had something that looked a little bit like the bars on it, but not really.
Yeah.
And she got cease and desist.
Oh, no. Is she quite high profile? Or was it like an Etsy store or something?
It was an Etsy store, but like she's not high profile at all.
Wow. Holy shit. That's tempting. Okay. What, have you ever seen a genuinely good Black Flag rip-off logo or T-shirt or something? Like, well-made? Yeah, what you got?
The fucking Bob the Music Industry Enough Already shirt.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good, yeah.
It's the greatest. Good. It's probably my favourite shirt design that anyone's ever done.
Probably their biggest selling shirt as well.
Yeah, it's because, well, I need to buy a fourth one. Now I've lost weight.
Fucking hell. That's great.
I think they're retiring the design soon, or maybe they already have. I hope.
Oh,
they
really?
Have, because I do need to get a new one.
That's like an evergreen design. Keep that going, baby. Yeah. So, Jamie, here we are on a bright, sunny Sunday morning, about to talk about what movie?
The Faculty.
The Faculty. Now then, storied in Final Transmission lore, this movie has its roots firmly embedded in both of our shared histories. What can you tell me about your early days of experiencing the movie The Faculty?
I saw it in the cinema when it came out.
Holy crap. When did it come out? 98?
Yeah.
Your finger was so on the pulse of the inner walls of popular culture's rectum.
Okay. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Who'd you go with?
Don't know. People from school.
Yeah, little school trip.
Yeah. They're probably the same people that I went to see the first Lord of the Rings with.
Oh, great. So you didn't. Good thing you didn't learn your lesson. You kept trying. What would you have said that young Jamie thought of the cast of this movie? Because at the time, obviously, like Robert Patrick is just starting a bit of a minor career renaissance at this point. Jon Stewart's relatively unknown to English movie-going audiences.
I think basically everyone is completely unknown apart from Robert Patrick and Lilith from Frasier. So
yeah.
So I think they were the only people that I knew and recognized in the movie. I don't know if Claire Duvall had been in Buffy at this point.
Right. I mean, as an aspiring young cinephile, did you recognize Christopher McDonald?
Yeah. I must have already seen Happy Gilmore at this point, right?
Yeah, but obviously he's like, in my mind at this time, 100% just a comedy actor. Do you know what I mean? I'm not expecting him in anything even remotely serious. Salma Hayek's early days, Josh Hartnett's early days.
Yeah.
Usher is a complete unknown. There's Piper Laurie as well. I mean, the cast of this movie is absolutely insane.
Yeah, like looking at it now, it's very easy to be like, well, all of these people are people. But I think in 1998, I basically knew nobody.
I think I was exactly the same. And I think it was my first experience of several actors that I would obviously follow forever.
Yeah. Like, who are you following? Who's still on the list?
Well, I still love Christopher McDonald. I think he's hilarious. I think he's really good at scary, edgy, over-the-top stuff like what he does in this as a truly psychotic parent. Robert Patrick's just, I think, lodged in everyone's psyche because of one obvious role as the T-1000. Still love Jon Stewart. Still think he's great. I think he's really good in this as well. He's fantastic, yeah. He's got some dreadful dialogue that he has to deal with. But I think he fucking smokes it. He's such a quintessentially perfect, cool, nerdy teacher. It's obviously a role. I bet he's, pulled from some real life experience there to build that role. I think I would go as far as say I like Josh Hartnett, but I think Elijah Wood's had such a mixed career, it's kind of difficult to characterize him one way or the other. But I think this is, here it comes, his best performance.
I disagree with that.
Oh, here we go.
Obviously, Elijah Wood gets mixed up with Daniel Radcliffe, like, visually quite a lot. And I think, like, they have similar interesting careers in when they're not doing the obvious bullshit thing that they're really known for. They pick really cool and interesting roles.
Sure.
So, like, Elijah Wood has been in some insanely great left field stuff. I mean, he's in the new fucking Toxic Avenger movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
No, me neither. But he's in it, and that's cool. Yeah. I loved him in Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective. It was called Dirk Gently, but it was based on the book Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, take your Max Landis with a pinch of salt, but like it's just a great show. Really, really respect it. Really rate it, and wish it went on forever, but it didn't because Max Landis is a piece of shit.
Oh, did you rate him in The Monkey?
Yeah, he's only in one scene.
Right,
but it was a good scene. He's funny. He was really good in I Don't Want to Be in the World Anymore, or whatever that fucking movie was called.
Everything is Illuminated.
No.
Oh. Huck Finn.
No, the one that has the title
royal shite.
I Don't Feel at Home in the World Anymore.
Okay.
Which was a Netflix movie with Melanie Linsky and was great.
How would you characterize his whole facial deal? Because obviously he's a very popular and accepted mainstream actor nowadays, despite looking, unconventional.
Yeah, a little bit like a marmoset.
Very Marmoset, big Marmoset energy.
Yeah, that's what they say, right? Big marmoset energy.
I mean, his eyes are absolutely insane, aren't they?
Yeah.
The brightest eyes I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, Conor Oberst could learn a thing or two from him.
Here he is, fucking hell. So, in what fucking universe do we deserve this cast? Is my next question. In a high school horror movie.
I mean, on top of that, also, we've got Robert Rodriguez in the director's chair,
Which is inexplicable. How does that happen?
It almost glums me out a little bit because he is, I would say, neutered. His shtick isn't operating at maximum capacity.
It almost feels like he's trying to be more moderate. There's a measured approach to some of the really obvious moments where he could go full on Rodriguez bananas, and he doesn't. So I'm also interested to talk a little bit more about what those directorial choices, where they're coming from and why they're made.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything for sure, so it'll be pure speculation from me, but we'll do that.
Weird for us to speculate about things we don't know for certain.
Yeah.
So, I'm jealous that you saw it at the cinema because I did not. The second I completed my first watch of it, I was slapping myself for not having seen it at the cinema. But this was a multiple times repeat rental for me. The kind of thing where I would go to TVO All-Star Video, and they would, they'd be like, "Again, you want to rent this again?" It was a real regular deal for me.
I have some hot takes that I'm gonna drop on you when we get into it for real. But I did like it a lot when I was a teenager. I don't think it holds up, but it's written by Kevin Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it has the longevity and the same sort of intelligence as Scream.
Yeah, undeniably, Scream has weathered, the years more triumphantly. Scream is essential viewing even for sixth form age teenagers now.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how different it would be if there wasn't a jillion fucking Scream sequels and a TV show.
Sure, you think that waters down their legacy a little bit.
No, I think that it's the opposite, really. That you get to build on that legacy and you get to fix any of the mistakes that have happened. If Scream was just sort of a standalone movie that came out in '96, we would probably still be talking about it because it's meta and cool.
Yeah.
But would it be the Scream that we know of now?
Sure. Would it have aged differently?
Yeah.
Back of the fridge, front of the fridge type situation.
Yeah. Well, I think The Faculty is similarly meta.
Yeah.
Obviously,
definitely.
Not as sort of outwardly, verbally. This is meta, but it is meta.
I think it's more meta for nerds. It's the shit that you're noticing in The Faculty is not, written in the fucking sky, but it's very clearly there if you're a fan of the genre. Whereas Scream is telling you, look how meta we are.
Well, I think the interesting meta thing in The Faculty is that they've taken these archetypes specifically from The Breakfast Club, and put them in a horrible, shitty situation. So I think in Scream, it's meant to be okay, we're in the real world, but if this was a movie, this is the stuff that would be happening.
Sure.
Whereas I think the world of The Faculty is very much a fictional world, and the movie kind of recognizes that.
Do you think so?
I think that it leans into these sort of high school movie tropes to the point where it's almost these tropes are tropes and we're doing tropes now. These are tropes rather than this is what high school is really like.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I didn't pick up on that per se. That feels like a bit of a cynical take.
I mean, I think it's interesting. I think the idea that you would make a movie to investigate well-worn high school movie tropes and to put them under some scrutiny and under some pressure in order to see what would happen if you move those out of the traditional genre into a different genre.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think the reason I don't necessarily pick up on that as much is that I think something really clever's happening with the tropey teenage stuff, specifically at the school. And I think the clever thing for me is that the school is a fucking shithole. It is such a gross, dilapidated, grimy, visually disgusting place, and I think that's a really deliberate, clever choice. They haven't cleaned it up at all. The lighting that they're using is reflecting off the walls. They're so shiny and gross and textured and disgusting. It's like fucking brown streaks and mucus on everything. It's like, this is a filthy place. And I think that's a really deliberate choice that kind of defies the typical high school movie trope of bright, clean hallways with shiny floors and perfect people. And then by contrast, you've got the dirty stoners and the grisly goths and all that kind of stuff. We're sort of in a place where the school feels so swampy.
I think that in the Breakfast Club, the school doesn't feel like a clean, shiny school.
I think it's more Midwestern in the Breakfast Club. It's more of an understated vibe. It's more autumnal. It's not gross. It's not like dirty. The teachers are wearing suits and are well presented, and even the quote unquote misfit loner kids are dressed well. It's that classic rich kids trying to look not rich thing going on, I think, and you get a bit of a smell of that throughout the movie. I just struggled to think of another high school teen genre tropey movie where the school is such a fucking gross place to be for the most part. Well, for the entire time.
I think in like the Greg Araki sort of high school movies that he made, Kaboom and Nowhere, like those aren't nice schools. But
they're grittier movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a gritty movie. I just think it's a really interesting choice that, when we're in the staff room, it's rank. The hallways are gross. Everything's run down. I think that's really, really calculated.
Yeah, I think the staff room feels more to me the teacher's lounge, to call it by
the teacher's
real
lounge.
name.
Yeah.
Staff room is such a British thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But I think that it feels much more like TV. It feels much more like the sort of teacher's lounge that you would see in like a sitcom about how teachers are sad because they've got to teach.
Teachers.
Yeah, because they've got to do their job.
Yeah, and it 100% that. I think part of that has to be the close confines they're shooting in. It's a really small space. But lean into that. Absolutely. It has that TV. Yeah. As soon as you see Salma Hayek's like, this is TV. It's crazy. But I just think that's, I'm not going to say genre defying, but there has to be a really calculated reason that you would preserve the grossness of the school or augment it in some way.
Yeah, I think, if we're taking the tropes that are laid out in 1,000 teen movies, but also specifically The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And moving that into a place that's going to test them.
Yeah.
I think that's another way to do that is these kids who are ostensibly pretty privileged. Even Zeke in this, who is, the Judd Nelson character in The Breakfast Club. His parents are rich enough to just be fucking off in Europe or whatever. He's obviously incredibly privileged, and they all are.
That's the biggest interesting little, it's not really a rug pull, it's like a rug inching about Zeke's whole character deal, is that he's clearly rich as fuck.
Yeah.
And a deliberate dropout, basically. He's obviously smart enough, he's clinging on to high school by the skin of his teeth, scared to enter the real world potentially. But yeah, lives in a massive house, drives a fucking whatever he's like a Dodge Charger or something ridiculous.
Yeah, like a Trans Am or whatever.
Yeah, just a beast of a muscle car, and is a complete fucking rich kid whose parents are off traveling the Med.
Yeah, well, so we've jumped into basically the middle of our review. Why don't we take a step back? You can give us a quick synopsis, and then we'll take a break and come back and get into it properly. You can synopsize the faculty, Sam. Come on, I believe in you.
All right, okay. The scene is Harrington High School in Ohio. A group of teenagers begin their days as they always would, arriving at high school, attending classes, dealing drugs, enjoying the white-hot American summer of their youth. When things start to go awry, as students notice strange behavior in faculty members at their high school, discoveries are made, bonds and alliances are formed, tragedies occur, mayhem ensues. The Faculty, Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'll do it.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. So, all right, should we take this break then and come back?
Let's do it. Whoa, holy shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
Okay, Sam, I'm back. Are you back?
Yeah, just about.
You back and ready to get into the faculty?
I'm ready.
This is a firm fave of yours. I understand.
It's definitely a film that I was madly in love with when it came out. Obsessed to the point of multiple rentals, multiple Friday night fucking absolute mega sessions. I definitely watched it back to back a couple of times. It was a little portal into a world that I was basically obsessed with as a teenager and continue to be obsessed with as an adult. And whether or not it held up was always a worry because I definitely didn't watch it for over 10 years. So revisited it a couple of years ago, was more than happy to revisit it for the pod, and would say that, yeah, it's probably still lodged pretty firmly. It doesn't achieve great movie status necessarily to me, but it's one that I really, really enjoy.
I don't think it holds up very much at all.
You would think it held up.
I mean, I like it. It's good, but I think there are some really odd choices.
Yep.
There are things that don't make any sense.
Ooh, I'm interested in that.
Like, I think we're in spoilers. So the teachers and some students are overtaken by an alien parasite that makes them have to conform to a hive mind situation. But I think that a bunch of the characters who are part of the hive mind do insane stuff.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, there's a scene when both the characters in that scene are part of the hive mind.
Yeah.
And another character comes in and one of them accuses the other one of being part of the hive mind. Why would you do that if you were both overtaken? You would just be like, oh, hey, man, great to see you. We're not part of the alien
We're definitely not
parasite.
part of an alien hive mind.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow not parasite hive mind member.
Like, that's insane to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're already in danger of reading too deeply into this ridiculous film. But I think, for me...
Oh, I've got reads on this movie for days, you know. I've got...
Fucking have, Jesus Christ, what have I done? This was going to be a nice little Sunday. I think my excuse for that, I guess my writing excuse, would be that the participants or the members of the hive mind still have to adhere to the social order in which they belong, and their actions are still kind of driven by the neural pathways, mental behaviors, and social conventions that they belong to as humans. So there's an unwritten rule that the teachers are going to take you over using their teacherly influence, using their adult position of authority, and the teenagers are going to squabble and bicker and be suspicious and do it in a way that's more obtuse and harder to read because they're hormonal maniac teenagers, and any behavior other than that is going to draw immediate attention to the fact that you're part of a hive mind.
I mean...
I thought you were just going to say bullshit for a second there.
I mean... I would never just say bullshit to you. I would dance around it for 5 sentences.
Okay,
which I'm about to do right now.
Here it comes.
No, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I just think if you have to adhere to your social blah or whatever, like, you still just... There's no reason for Sean Hatosi's character to come into that scene and suspect either of them for being hive mind alien parasite hosts.
Okay.
So all they're doing is outing themselves. 50% of them are going to die in that scene, right?
Right.
Or 50% of them of the alien hive mind parasite hosts. There needs to be a shorter way of saying that.
Yeah. Just say aliens.
Yeah. Are going to be found out, because at least one of them has to be found out in a scene where one of them is accusing the other one, and then the other one is accusing that one.
Sure.
Like, one of them is at least going to be found out.
Yeah.
So it would just be much easier to not do that.
So what's the point of that scene as far as you're concerned?
Don't know. Stupid.
Tension building?
No, potentially tension building, but also what it does for me is it pulls me out of the movie, because I'm like, why would they do that?
Is this the locker room scene?
Yeah.
So are we saying that Stan is definitely an alien by that point?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the two girls. It's Jordana Brewster and the blonde girl.
So we sort of assume that Mary Beth, played by Laura Harris, is hosting an alien parasite from the very beginning because she's the queen.
Yeah.
So from the second she arrives at school as the new girl, she is the queen alien, right?
Yeah. So why would?
So when does Delilah get parasited?
I don't know, but she is parasited in that scene.
Yeah.
And she accuses Mary Beth of being like, she accuses her first, but she's
Classic
the queen.
misdirection.
But she's the queen.
Yes, perfect though. Classic misdirection. Like,
But
accuse
it's
the
not.
new
I don't
girl.
think
It's totally in keeping with Delilah's character as a human.
yeah, but she's not a human. She's a alien parasite host.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think to avoid suspicion, you have to continue to behave like you're human as best you can.
But surely they know. I mean, we're getting very bogged down in this one scene. But like, surely they know that one of those people is going to get found out in that scene. And if the first person that you accuse is the queen,
Yeah.
then surely you're shedding light on the fact that this person who is the queen might be a host.
Yeah.
And that's
but what else
a
is
bad
she going to do?
That's like nothing. They're both part of the hive mind. So like, why would
Yeah.
either of them say anything?
I guess performative. Again, like they have to continue
They don't
to
have
be these
to.
teenagers.
Yeah, but
I don't know, man. We don't have a movie if they don't. Or we have. That's why for me it's still an interesting take on classic genres, because in Body Snatchers you become zomboed and you're just sort of shuffling around in lines. And any kind of hive mind parasite takeover normally wipes away a lot of the host's personality. And I think what's interesting in this is it's like the fast zombie equivalent, but more cerebral, because we still get to keep the characters. They become more mysterious and interesting and duplicitous as part of a hive mind, which I think is sick. We don't lose the personality of the character.
like only when it's convenient for the plot, though. Like all of the
Sure.
other students in the school become hive mind zombies. So it's, again, I think that is interesting to watch, but ultimately bad writing.
It could be a logic flaw, or it could be that en masse, in safety in numbers style, they start to like hum into that hive mind, bee-like behavior, where they're all in sync and they're not wasting any extraneous energy, and they're just preserving and building the hive mind power. And then on an individual level, they can utilize the power of the individual to assimilate more for the whole. That's how I always read it anyway. And I always thought that was kind of clever. But yeah, you might be right. It might just be, slightly ham-fisted messaging.
Yeah. I'm doing the thing where I do quite like this movie, but I'm giving it a much harder time than I would give basically any other movie, because the few things that irked me quite a lot.
Sure. And I think if a movie is if a movie's great, but it's maybe not holding up, then that's going to draw the scrutiny spotlight a little bit harder. I think
definitely.
The other problem I have with, not necessarily with that read, but with the whole idea that that's a flaw in some way, is that you lose some of the best horror moments in the movie if you take that stuff out. Like the scariest moment of this movie for me is the couple who are billed as the fuck you couple, the couple that's always arguing and fucking slapping each other and shit. When he's aliened and she's not, the way that he does that like crooked head under the eyelids look directly into the camera on that slow pan outside.
The Kubrick look.
Yes, the scariest shot in the whole movie, scariest moment in the whole movie for me. So if we don't have some kind of differential between alien parasite hosts and average everyday run-of-the-mill teens, we lose a lot of that tension and the ability to portray ominous, to be portentous and look at the,
But I
future.
like that. What I don't like is is characters basically being exactly the same until it's convenient for them to jump out of the dark as an alien host.
Right. Yeah,
And that's
sure.
the thing that I think makes no sense, is that like characters are acting as if they are. So some characters are like completely changed. Their entire personality is changed by being a host. And some characters are completely the same as they always were until the point when the movie, and that only happens based on how important they are to the plot. So that only happens if they're Mary Beth, or it only happens if they're whoever. It doesn't happen.
Nah, I think I'd hard disagree on that, because it's a hive mind. It's tiered. You've got soldiers, worker bees, and then you've got big monster mamas that obviously have more control. I think it's more like, the more important you are to the upper echelons of the hive, the more autonomous you are essentially, and the more control you have. Whereas if you're just a drone, you're not going to waste any time fucking having a personality. You're just you're meat shield.
But that works for Mary Beth, but it doesn't work for Jordana Brewster's character, and it doesn't work for Sean.
Well, Delilah's influential as a teenager, so she's a huge part of the plan to, she's whatever she is, homecoming queen or whatever, some shit. So she runs the newspaper. She can disseminate information. She can, she has power in the social structure of the human world. That's why she's vital. Same with Stan. He sort of escapes being assimilated by leaving his social post in the hierarchy of high school, and then eventually is clawed back almost by accident. So I think there's a lot to be said for the social hierarchy and the hive mind being in sync, and the way that the alien is taking over the world using those power structures.
Okay. I still think it doesn't quite make sense, but
Well,
I understand.
Posit it as like an opposite. Let's say Delilah is the most influential teenager at the school, right?
Yeah.
Let's say she becomes an alien parasite host and her personality completely changes, and she loses all of her Delilah-ness that makes high school students follow her like blind sheep into the abyss. She's useless to the hive mind. She becomes another drone. She's just like a crude tool, and she's out there doing it manually. Whereas she can do it in a much more manipulative way by retaining her personality.
She never
doesn't.
does
It kind
that.
of fails. Yeah. Which is, again, I think, interesting.
One of the reasons that 15, 16-year-old Sam Russo was so in on this movie
Oh,
is
yeah. I know exactly what you're going to say.
it opens to the sound of The Offspring.
So first of all, I love movie studio logos, and my favorite thing is to shout which studio it is before it's fully emerged on screen. Having the Dimension logo, which is by far next to Paramount my favorite logo, with The Kids Aren't Alright blasting, and then a fucking American football, like a dirty, shitty American football field with Robert Patrick as the coach, is the first 5 seconds of this film. Fucking shove my chips to the center of the table. I'm all in. It should be criminal to open a movie that hard. Fucking call the cops on Robert Rodriguez. Go straight to jail.
Between that and Idle Hands having that Rancid song, like...
Well, also having The Offspring covering the Ramones.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't happen till way later in the movie.
No,
but
sure,
like,
yeah. But
in
that's
the
why
in the opening scene when he wakes up and he's puts his headphones on, or his alarm radio is playing Rancid, and then he turns his alarm off and puts his headphones on, and the same song carries on. Which it's
dreamy.
That's what my life is like now, between like my fucking Alexa speakers and my fucking earpods.
Yeah,
like that's just what my life does. Is
just cut to fit, man. It's magic. But so my main like point of praise for this whole movie is tied very much in with that. I mean, we also get Helpless by Degeneration. There's so many good songs in this film, and some of them defy how shit they are independently because the movie elevates them. But my favorite thing about the whole movie, and the thing that I think more than holds up that I wasn't aware of as a semi-casual teenage viewer just watching for kicks when I was a kid, is that it is so fucking tightly edited, scripted, and shot. In my opinion, the first half an hour of this movie, immaculate bang bang cinema, just killer shot after killer shot, important shit after important shit, tightly bound, bang 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 the whole way through. You don't lose a breath, and I think that's really fucking impressive for the first 30 minutes of the movie. We get all the character introductions. We get everything we need to know about everyone. We get amazing, beautiful, quintessential high school relationship shit, like the bathroom scene where Zeke's selling what's he call it? Scat. Selling fecal porn to other kids. And then that elevated pan over and Elijah Wood's in the stall with a bloody nose. Like, that's perfect. Tells you everything you need. Looks awesome. All that shit is amazing for the first half an hour. The tight, taut cinema. Bang. Fantastic.
Yeah, just to go back to the soundtrack for a minute.
Yeah.
There are song choices in this that I think are terrible and egregious. That fucking Pink Floyd song, fuck off.
See, I have a huge problem here that I'm willing to tease out with you. I don't like that song. I don't like that band. But in the movie, I think it works.
I think a movie about killer fucking teachers with the song fucking Another Brick in the Wall. Another Brick in the Wall, which is about conformity. In a movie about conform. It's ugh. Like,
it's a dumb mainstream teen movie, and a lot of teenagers wouldn't have heard that song, and it kind of makes it cool. It's weird. It's like I think there's a real cynical approach to music in this movie, if I'm honest, and it's just a coincidence that some of it works, because there's no fucking way they didn't just ask someone what's a song that's out at the moment that's about being young, Stay Young by Oasis, and then put it, and Oasis are massive, so put it on there. You know, it's going to be as lame and cynical as that, I think. And but there's more to it when it's like old people make these films, essentially, right? Rodriguez is young, but everyone at all those studios is old and white.
Yeah,
And
Robert
I'm
Rodriguez is like
18.
28 at this point, right?
Yeah, but so I'm 18 by, let's say, Alice Cooper is a really fucking important angst early fucking basically a punk song. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so having Creed covering it is their attempt at being relevant. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's kind of cynical. I think
But
it's not great.
I mean, there's another egregious song in it, and it's also an Alice Cooper song.
Right?
And like, fucking, if you put schools out in a movie about fucking school, like you need to fucking die. Frankly,
It's a crazy soundtrack. You've got Sean Mullins, who is breaking through the stratosphere in terms of his 5-minute career at this point in the release of this movie, covering David Bowie. Changes. What? Yeah. It's kind of like Garbage Medication was enormous at this point. This soundtrack cost more than the fucking movie, I bet.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And for me, it's all placed really well. And it's a lot of music I don't like. So something's happening there that's working on me. And maybe I'm the intended audience. So I have to credit someone for doing a good job. At the time, I wouldn't have listened to this score and enjoyed it. I know that for a fact. There was eye roll moments for me even as a teenager. But now, looking at it more holistically, I just think it's pretty fucking woven together quite well.
I think when it's good, it's really good, and when it's another brick in the wall, I want to bash my head into that fucking wall.
Yeah, that's a real moment. But again, the only way I'm ever going to enjoy that song is if it's in a moment like that in a film. It has
the
such
only way
baggage
that
for me.
I will ever enjoy that song is when it's the Bloodhound Gang saying, "All in all, you're just another dick with no balls."
It's a classic. Such a classic. Yeah. Yeah. And believe me, I was force-fed that fucking band as a young man and despise them. So, rough hang. But in this movie, I don't know. Maybe I'm a basic bitch, but it fucking works.
Yeah. Can we talk about some reads, some subtext-based reads?
Yep. To quote Guttermouth, read me. Read me like a book.
Obviously, this movie is about conformity and like the idea. So I think that there is a fairly right-wing take at the center of this movie.
Really?
But I don't know if this is my 2025 eyes, but like lots of people on the right these days think that like high school and college is basically just like a left-wing doctrination camp for teachers to basically brainwash children into being little left-wing people.
While the people in the schools, the kids, feel like they're being brainwashed to be essentially neo-fascist, productive members of society.
Yeah, exactly.
The dichotomy is thus. Yeah.
So, I mean, like I say, I don't think that that's the take at the center of the movie, but I think that's an interesting thing. I mean, obviously, the movie's about conformity, and the teachers are literally infecting the students to make them conform to the hive mind. So, I mean, it's there.
Yeah, I still think because it's of its time, it's more of the innocence of the teen perspective of school being one of the corrupting factors in taking your individuality and flushing it down the toilet. And
well, I think that like these fears, what's the word? Moral panic type fears.
Sure.
Were around this time, and like just because a movie like Trick or Treat, because they engage with the fears of a moral panic, doesn't mean that they effectively agree with the take of the moral panic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a way of building a narrative out of things that are happening in the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's there at the center of it, is the idea that like there's this corrupting factor, like you said, and I do think it's the world now thinks that kids are being brainwashed into being left wing, and when you do go to school, you do feel like you're being brainwashed in the entirely opposite way.
Yeah.
When am I ever going to use fucking algebra? You know what I mean?
It's an essential rite of passage in terms of your adolescent development, right? Feeling whether you are or not, and to varying degrees, comically not oppressed. So, I've spent an enormous amount of time in my life in faculty lounges, in staff rooms, in high school corridors, in these places, and am acutely attuned to all of the issues at play in this movie. And that's why I love movies like this, because it's so such a comical exaggeration of the actuality of that school life. Do you know what I mean? That's why I can't watch shit like Borstal, because it's too real.
Yeah.
But I can watch this and luxuriate in how ridiculous it is, how angsty it is, how harmlessly angsty it is almost. But there's like a real aching tragedy to the way Casey's bullied that just gets me every time. The way he's run up the flagpole, that is fucking torture. And I watch that and it makes me deeply sad. And that's why that character really resonates and why I invest in that character in this movie, I think. The bullied kid thing is done so well in this film without the slightest of remorse. We meet his parents, and as soon as I see his parents, I think they're going to defend him. They're going to be on his side. They look like together professional people, and they're fucking psychopaths.
Yeah.
The way he has every single tiny piece of enjoyment in his life systematically removed from his bedroom because he tried to he tried to help, essentially, is really important to the movie. I think it's so brutal and so punishing.
I mean, he does have telephoto lens photos of Jordana Brewston above his bed. So
hey, man, they have a working relationship. Okay, he might could be totally innocent, bud. Again, I like it. I like that they're not afraid to show you he's a little bit of a creepy, sleazy weirdo.
Yeah, just like, Revenge of the Nerds is not afraid to show you that it's the nerds are creepy for, having sex with women who think they're other people because they're wearing masks.
Yeah, for sure. But also, the opening scene of this movie is Robert Patrick being so fucking sexually inappropriate to the principal of the high school, and her line is like, "There's a fine line of harassment, coach." He's already like way out of bounds, to use the sporting parlance. We get to see where those lines are in the 90s, and it's not fun. It's not nice.
So another take, I think, is sort of taking the movie out of a high school and putting it into society in general, is that like the people who are in charge, in control, don't have your best interests at heart.
No, and are in dereliction of duty most of the time, not very good at what they do, totally self-centered. Yeah, absolutely.
So I wondered how much of that is an actual factor and how much of it is just me being like my little sort of fuck you punk rock man.
I would almost go as far as say even Stevens. It's like that fucking peanut butter and jam in a jar where it's all together. It's like
Goobers, Smuckers.
Goobers. That's the shit. Yeah. It's so for me, like, you have to have these teacher tropes because of the movie that you're making, right? So but there's some defiance in there. Like, Robert Patrick is a great coach, but he's not what I would picture in a movie like this. If I'm casting a coach, I picture someone much bigger and burlier and dumber, whereas he is sharp, acerbic, lean, frightening, unpredictable, which is a great choice as far as I'm concerned. You've got the sort of drunk, jaded, past it teacher who's knocking whiskey from a flask, and
Daniel Van Bargen, we love him, big fan.
Not doing a great job at that point in his career. You've got the sickly nurse, the teacher who's so old she can't even sit in a chair. You've got all these great tropes. And the bottom line is, like, nobody here is particularly good at their job. Everything is hanging by a thread. Society itself is hanging in the balance, mostly held together by fucking complete narcissists. That's, I think, telegraphed,
Like, I don't know how much of that is influenced by the fact that we live in 2025 and there is a second Trump term and fucking Elon Musk is deciding social policy and stuff like that. But like,
I've felt this way since I was 15.
Well, yeah, me too. But like,
if you've read a book, you know that that's what's happening in your school.
Yeah, if you've read a Michael Moore book,
so much. Yeah. Or if you're just a perceptive, observant, thinking teenager, that's why you despise the system that you're forced into, because you recognize that a mile away. As soon as a teacher treats you like a human being, you have the contrast in place to understand that this is all so performative, and this is all hanging together like wet tissue paper, and all I have to do is say a few words and it falls apart. Like, that's fascinating to me, and any movie that explores that I enjoy. So that's why I love seeing a character like Zeke trying to sell condoms to his teacher. It's so uncomfortable. Like,
I mean, it's creepy.
Yeah, incredibly creepy. It's a horribly uncomfortable scene. The way she delivers that so rude line, run away with that, Oscar. It's fucking great. A point on conformity that I have to make, which is like I rate this movie so highly that I'm deducting whole points for errors, essentially, for things that don't fit or work. And the biggest deduction for me is the disgusting product placement cynicism of casting Clea Duvall as a full-on rebellious gothic Grebby character. Do you know what I mean? Total outsider, and then having so little spine and so little integrity as a filmmaker that you still put her in Tommy Hilfiger clothing because that's what the wardrobe demands for the whole movie. The dumbest, most like, whoop, there's the rug, you're watching fiction moment of the whole movie is seeing her in fucking Tommy Hilfiger. Ridiculous.
So, I mean, I could Sam Russo explain that away if you wanted me to.
She's not really a Greb. She ends up being a prep. Yeah.
Like, but I mean, that's the Breakfast Club read. But like,
well, that's true though. That does happen at the end. You know, she's fucking dating the football guy and wearing a fucking flowery dress.
I see it sort of the other way, is that she's only recently become the Greb. So her rebellion has started so quickly. She's Janice Ian in Mean Girls. Like, she used to be best mates with fucking whatever the bad girl, the mean girl is in that. I mean,
I see more evidence.
Mean Girls.
Yeah, more evidence to the contrary. Her reputation's entrenched, you know.
Yeah. But so is Janice Ian in Mean Girls, and like...
Yeah, I don't know Mean Girls well enough. So, 2 observations also. I think that sucks. It's really, really disheartening to see a movie
I mean, I completely agree with you. I just wanted to present a counterpoint for the sake of...
There's definitely an argument. But also, it's 2025 at the time of recording. Tommy Hilfiger is so back, it's ridiculous. All teenagers are wearing black Tommy Hilfiger jeans right now. Big boot cut Tommy Hilfiger jeans. Wow.
Why do you know what teenagers are wearing?
Well, this is...
Are you just so switched on fashion that you just know what the kids are into?
There's no way for me to reply to this in a way that you're not going to cut around it to make me look like some kind of sex criminal. The long and the short of it is I spend quite a lot of time at skate parks. Sorry.
Surely all the kids at skate parks are wearing the same Vans trousers that we're both wearing right now.
No, because the skate park that I go to is right next to a school. Just gets worse. And all the kids come out of school, go home.
Is it conveniently 40 feet though? Is that the...
It's about 100. It's more than convenient. I don't know, man. Like I see a lot of kids.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a thing. Tommy Hilfiger's
you were a
back.
teacher for a long time, so we can allow you to look at children.
Yeah, I'm concerned with the state of our nation's youth, especially their choices in denim. Part of the reason I'm so revolted as well is that when I was, however old I was when this came out, 16 or whatever, Tommy Hilfiger was what all the boys at school that I hated wore. It was the thing and I refused. It was a Tommy Hilfiger fleece that made me want to pound people's faces to mush. And seeing her, it's just a sellout move, and it sucks. It shows no actual understanding of her character to put her in that wardrobe. It's dumb.
So I have more takes to sort of strengthen this is about government and how the government doesn't have your best interests at heart and just wants you to be a mindless worker drone.
Yeah.
To support that, they reference Robert A. Heinlein like a bunch.
Yeah.
And his 2 most famous works are Stranger in a Strange Land and Starship Troopers, both of which are about militarism and fascism. So that can't be an accident.
And to quote Guttermouth, dictionaryism.
Sure. Like, that can't be an accident. Like, that... You don't have these really on-the-nose references to... I mean, and they're references that you don't necessarily need. Or if you don't get them, it doesn't affect your viewing of the movie in any way. But when someone says Robert A. Heinlein, I immediately think of fascism. And, like, that's disputed. And, like, there are some alternative takes on whether Starship Troopers is fascistic or does suggest that a fascist system is better than the alternative. There are some takes that's disputed, but like it's what I think of first when people say Robert A. Heinlein. So
I think most people do, regardless of where you sit on that argument about that one book. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're screaming what this movie is trying to be about. I think
Yeah.
by bringing that particular piece of literature in, that author. It's the same with all the literary references in the movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But like that's the one that really sort of stuck out to me.
I totally agree. I think the movie is doing something. I can't say it's doing something really clever, but what it is doing is serving its audience. Its audience is teenagers, probably mostly alienated teenagers who like sci-fi horror. And it's
Alienated.
alienated. That's what everyone becomes. Yeah. So, for me, it's serving its audience really well because it's bringing up books where you remember that impressionable period of your life where you're hungry for new books and new knowledge and new information and new things to hang your hat on, and a movie gives you a reading list.
Referencing a book in a movie like this, where it's like this character who me and you at least would identify with as like the gothy outsider in high school, like giving a reading list based on that character and who that character is to me the same as like buying a record and reading the liner notes and seeing who the bands think.
Exactly.
And going out and buying all of those CDs.
100%. If you've already read those books, you feel so validated and so a part of the movie. And if you haven't, you're going to the library. That's your next step. That's your next stop. And also, like, Casey being characterized by the most popular girl in school as the nerdy Stephen King kid. Every high school has one. That's so validating for so many nerdy Stephen King fans. It's a great moment. And all of that stuff is, again, just doing its audience, giving its audience exactly what it paid for. So if some of these political takes are either a little bit on the nose, massively telegraphed, or a bit cliche and reductive, it's because they're for teenagers. And that's exactly what they need as an audience, in my opinion. So I think it's really well done. I think it's great the way they weave in some literary references as well as some great movies that everyone's going to have seen. And if they haven't, they're doing exactly what you said. They're going to find out which punk bands influenced Blink-182, and they're going to go listen to them. I think it's cool.
I think, like, just to pick up on, like, the nerdy Stephen King kid thing.
Yeah.
That, and a few lines like it in the movie, are what I would say the weaker end of the meta writing.
Okay.
Like, since when did you become Sigourney Weaver? Like, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Pretty lame. Yeah. A lot of bad dialogue, but also a lot of pretty soaringly great dialogue. It's really end-to-end stuff. For every egregious use of Tommy Hilfiger, you get Daniel von Bargen in a ridiculously 80s cigar tie.
Yeah.
So it's like end-to-end shit. Bad to good, bad to good.
Obviously, Kevin Williamson is known as the meta horror guy off the back of Scream. So, like, they were like, do that again, but different.
Yeah.
And some of that meta stuff just doesn't really land in the same way, because you can't be like, hey, in a sci-fi horror movie we have to do this, although they kind of do, because they do the whole the thing blood test sniff drugs thing. Which, another thing that annoys me is that, like, we see all those characters take it. The one character that we actually don't see take it is Zeke. He like hides it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a misdirect. And then, like, to explain it away, then, I closed my nostril and used my fucking alien finger to... Fuck off. That's bullshit.
Nobody would see the fucking massive tentacle come out of your hand. Like, you're trying to conceal that you're knocking the lid off the pen. So do it with a fucking tentacle that you absolutely don't need to show anyone. Dumb. So in terms of things that are meta and on the nose, what do you think of the Piper Laurie shot where we get boom, 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 and the camera goes in that, like, staged jerky zoom in on her face?
I mean, I like that. I do like that.
I love that. Yeah. It did loads for the tone of the movie, stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, and there is, like, we've not really talked about, like, the muted Robert Rodriguez yet, but there are things that come through like that. Yeah. And basically the camera is always moving, which is a very Rodriguez thing. Like, it switches from, like, drifting sort of dolly shots when things are fairly placid to almost entirely handheld in, like, the action and, like, scary sequences.
Yeah.
And again, that's a really Rodriguez thing, but, like, it does feel like someone somewhere is like, we know that you do this, like, almost Raimi type stuff over here.
Yeah.
That's not what we want. We want you to make a movie.
Yeah,
Rob.
Yeah.
And
he does
make a real film, and he does.
To his credit, he does. And also, stylistically, I think he clicks well with this genre, which isn't something he revisits much, I think, in his career. You know, high school fucking drama.
Yeah, I
shit.
get the nearest thing to this is, I would say, Planet Terror, which is like militaristic
Sure, yeah.
sci-fi
Sorry,
horror.
I was looking for the high school scenes in Planet Terror in my head, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, I feel like military base and high school are
the same.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Minimum security prison. It's basically high school.
Bunch of 16-year-old kids who are dumb as a shoe,
Fucking and beating each other up.
being told what to do. That's
yeah. It's rough. I totally agree. There's two great bits of graffiti in this movie that kind of tell you everything you need to know about the school and the socio-political takes of the movie. One is USA sucks big time, and the other is Untamed Muff.
Untamed Muff is a great band name.
Great band name. And their first album, USA sucks big time. Yeah, but I mean, Rodriguez's style works well for me particularly in the high school scenario, because the roving hallway camera is something I love. You know, when you get that really long dolly shot in Donnie Darko, stuff like that. All the moving camera stuff in high school hallways works well, because you get the guided tour of all the cliques, and you see the main vein of the high school essentially. So his style works really well for me in that context, and he's brave, I think, with a lot of his shot choices. Maybe not massively in this film, but generally. So you get the sense that there's a bit of risk taking going on. The high school stuff feels edgy because of where he's putting the camera, essentially. So I think it brings an element of danger that's really needed, because this movie lacks the teen danger element of like guns and knives and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's more focused on minor rebellion. So I think the directorial choices have to add a sense of danger, or you've got your high school kids are more victims than they are protagonists for the whole movie. So there's something going on there that's cleverer than maybe another director could have done with the material, possibly.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that there is interesting stuff here. The thing that I think is missing here, or the thing that I think is different, and maybe that's why it feels so different, is that there's nothing Mexican about it.
Yeah, it's so weird that it's in Ohio. I know it's shot in Texas, but why isn't this like fucking Chula Vista? Absolute
I guess because
bottom of Southern California. Like, why not?
Because Ohio is
bleak.
Yeah, but like bleak, but in a boring way. It's like
nondescript.
Neutral. Yeah, very neutral. So like,
sure.
There are no guns, there are no knives. Like in Southern California or wherever, there would be guns and knives. Like,
yeah, it's a departure from his signature aesthetic that is, quintessentially influenced by, all things Mexico, which is rad, and it's a huge reason I like him. I like that this is Ohio, and that it doesn't bang on about how Ohio it is. It's not like all about how shit their small town is. It stays away from that and sticks with more of a narrative focus, which is cool.
Yeah. But one character does cut their wrist and black their eyes.
That's true.
So maybe Ohio is for lovers after all.
Yeah, dude, here he is, fucking out all night long.
Do you know what Robert Rodriguez's next movie was after this?
No, what?
Spy Kids.
How interesting. Starting to make some serious dough at this point in his career.
I fucking love Spy Kids 1, Spy Kids 3.
I remember watching them with my little brother and kind of enjoying them. Yeah,
I think they're great. I think
pretty
they're
decent.
There's a lot of stuff there for kids and adults in a fun way.
Yeah.
Another thing that Robert Rodriguez does in this that I think irks me a little bit is that there are a bunch of lines that are written as jokes.
Yeah.
That are not played as jokes. They're played as serious dialogue.
Oh, really? Like what?
So when Elijah Wood runs away or is running or something, and he's talking to the coach, and he's like, people shouldn't run unless they're being chased. It's like, it's obviously a joke. And I think the character in the script there is making a joke.
You think so? And Elijah Wood delivers it absolutely serious.
Yeah. And like, obviously the vibe is that, Like it comes back later, but like
Now that you say it, it makes way more sense on the coach's part if it's a joke that he throws back as a threat later on, right?
yeah,
Weird. It's a strange thing to say. There are garbage lines in this movie, like when Jon Stewart's in the cafeteria and Robert Patrick's drinking at the fountain. He says, "What's with the coach? He's thirsty." Nobody says that. Nobody notices someone drinking lots of water and says that to somebody else. Like,
look at this guy drinking water.
Yeah.
What a fuckhead. I mean, a tiny shot that I really enjoy
yeah,
is when all the teachers are part of the hive mind. The sort of slow pan over the non-used coffee machine, I think, is just really funny.
it's great. Yeah, and it's funny on two levels because it's such a predictor of our like hydration obsessed modern society. Like people walking around with you just fucking you just picked up an enormous water bottle. People with these like gallon water bottles walking around just constantly pounding water. That it's good sci-fi because it kind of foretells that a little bit, foreshadows it in society. It's like your fucking house full of liquid death. Are you part of a hive mind, Jamie?
I'm part of the liquid death hive mind.
Yeah, I bet you are. So that's fun, definitely. And yeah, an unused coffee urn in a teacher's lounge, scary. Good fun. Jamie, in this movie, I'm inching towards addressing the huge, giant, well-hung woolly mammoth in the room, but I'm not quite there yet. So what do you think of the melts in this movie?
I mean, I like the melts. The special effects in this movie are sometimes one of the worst things about this movie.
That's the mammoth. The practical effects, I think, are fantastic. We got Greg Nicotero on this, by the way. Did you spot that?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. The CG is by far, when I was watching this on VHS with big pixels, brilliant. Totally in it. Every effect was great. Watching it now, it is impossible to watch. It's so
the only
bad.
CG effect that I like in this movie is
we agree.
the little fingers.
Oh, really?
Jon Stewart's little traveling fingers as they because it looks.
Rainy.
I mean, it's very clearly CG, but it looks a little bit sort of stop motion Harryhausen.
Yeah, I would say my favorite CG is the alien parasite slugs under the facial skin of various people, but on Delilah, that first reveal of that looks sick.
It does look sick, but we've seen that exact effect in the X-Files movie.
True.
At this point, so I think that was muted by the fact that the exact same effect, even like the under the face, under the arms, the whole thing is done in the X-Files movie. So
yeah, I like how it's shot in this. It's more horrific, more Rodriguez. The actual parasite, the little pupy thing when they're cutting it open and doing the little mini autopsy looks great. It looks cool when it goes in the water, even I think when it's swimming.
Yeah.
When it opens its teeth, that's when you see where the CG is going.
Yeah. Just a point. So the X-Files movie came out the same year.
Right.
So I wonder if
Probably
this
a
is like
breakthrough.
Yeah, brand new technology.
Yeah.
And they were probably in production at the same time.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like this saw that and was like, oh, let's do that. But like, yeah, it must be some sort of new technology that allows us to do this at this time.
Yeah. The best practical effects in the movie have to do with the alien slug creatures. Like when they're blasted out of the Queen into Elijah Wood's face, and they're in, and then they sort of rot and drop off. That's superb. And obviously the Queen, when it's a practical effect, is obviously fucking Nicotero doing his thing, and it looks awesome. But everything that is CG, apart from the things we've just described, made me hang my head. It's such a letdown. I just want to see a cut of this movie where they fix it all somehow and make it all practical, because it would be so good. You don't need any CG in this movie.
Yeah, especially like how much this film is referencing The Thing.
Yeah.
Like, and the reason The Thing works so well is because those effects are some of the greatest effects ever put on screen.
Absolutely.
And the reason that the fucking prequel, remake, reboot bullshit doesn't work is because you try and CG that stuff.
Yeah.
There is a practical effect in this movie that I think is the funniest and dumbest thing I've seen in a long time.
Go on.
When Miss Burke is in the car crash bit.
Oh yeah. Oh,
the flying dummy. I mean,
Yeah.
I love a dummy.
me too.
And
Very good.
that was so much fun. It's so dumb, and it looks She just like flings off into the sun. It's like
Yeah, absolutely launched. But how lame is the fucking tentacle head? Just so bad. And we know Nicotero's got that in his bag. You could do a fucking slow dragging tentacle head in your sleep.
yeah,
Stop making
or like
these bad decisions.
again, like think about The Thing. We've seen that exact creature.
Yeah.
Like the
That's what you're referencing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All the horror elements of the movie that are more subtle and more body snatchersy are the scary bits. The coach standing in the sprinklers, superb
Yeah.
shot, great idea. Yeah, you don't need fucking giant monsters swimming in the pool. You don't need any of that crap. It's a total downer, and it's the only thing for me that doesn't hold up in the
Yeah.
slightest.
It's 1998. We need to make it. We need
Yeah.
to do these things.
Again,
We
I'm
need to hit these
jealous of.
beats.
Yeah, people who like those kind of effects must be having a blast with this movie. If you've got that gear in your brain that can switch to like, these are just retro primitive effects, it's no big deal. It doesn't hurt the movie. I'm jealous of your experience of watching this movie, but I can't get there myself. The practical gore is great. Even little things like when Stokely smashes her face into the tiled floor, the blood looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like loads of that stuff's awesome. John Stewart getting his fingers cut off looks great. The pencil through the hand, all that stuff is fun. And then we really fucked the pig at the end with the big queen.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
All right, Sam. Shall we take a break and come back and finish off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, man. Does that thing even work? No. There's nothing out there. It's just dead air.
I am back, Sam Russo. Are you back? Sam
I'm
Russo?
back.
Back like a rat, you might say.
Don't make me do it. I'm back. Are you back?
I'm back. Back like a vertebrae.
You know who else is back?
Go on.
Red Scare Industries. Go to
Yeah,
redscare.net to
where
get
did
your
they go?
fill. I mean, they're as relevant as the movie The Faculty. They never really went anywhere.
Yeah, well, go to redscare.net, have a look at some of the upcoming tour dates, which include Sam Russo on tour in the United States, the continental United States, and also their neighbours to the north.
The Canada.
In May.
I'll be there. I'll be in the Great White North and
Yeah.
the absolute hellscape that is the United States of America. Good times ahead.
So yeah, redscare.net, right?
Yeah, check it out. Over to you, Jamie. I think you need to bring this one to the finish line.
Bring it home. Okay, so I mean, I like this movie. Like, I'm pretty hard on it because there are things in it that I think are kind of unforgivable.
Yeah, agreed.
But then I kind of also forgive some of the other things. So
100% agree.
it's just a bit of an uneven ride, but very clear that why it doesn't stick the landing of like a Scream, why it didn't become an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Very clear that like Kevin Williamson, who didn't go back to Scream for a while, like very clear that he kind of only has that one gear, but it's a good gear. So
It's a great gear.
if you're Kevin Williamson or if you're Guttermouth, like stay in your lane. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like
know exactly what you mean. So this is going to be a tough one for you to rate, bud.
yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't think it's very good.
Yeah.
That's where I've landed.
Yeah.
It's better than I think it is, but it's still not very good, I think. I give it 17 weird clumps of Josh Hartnett's hair out of 26.
17 out of 26.
Yeah.
What do you think about Miss Brummel's hair when it comes off in the shower?
That's a great scene. That's a great scene.
Superb. It's The Shining, right?
Yeah, it's The
That was my
Shining.
take, yeah.
Its explanation is so stupid that I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's got cancer
Yeah.
and the chemo is affecting her badly, so she's
That's why
coming
the
at you in the
teacher
shower.
was hugging you in the shower completely naked. What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Well, that's a great rating, bud. I think you've exonerated yourself here today.
Give me your final thoughts and your rating too, please.
I'm going to flip reverse this and rate it first.
Okay.
I'm giving it 9 tip bags out of 10 because I think it does what it wants to do the whole way through the movie. It achieves its goal, its mission. It fits in its place in time. At the time I watched it, it was a 10 out of 10. The only thing that I can't find entertaining now is the CG. and the Tommy Hilfiger. So it loses half a point for both of those because they genuinely take me out the movie. Those replaced with what should clearly be there, the authentic wardrobe of that character and practical effects, because you have fucking Greg Nicotero sitting there in his studio, and you've got, for me, a perfect teen sci-fi horror movie that's full of the kind of inconsistencies I really love. It doesn't feel like at any point in watching this that I'm like giving it a pass for nostalgia's sake. I watched it with a few beers on a Thursday night when I had the Friday off, which is basically a Friday night, and I felt the same feelings, but not in a nostalgic way. It still stokes the same fires for me.
Yeah. It does work on a nostalgia level for me as well.
Sure.
But
It's
like,
got
it
fucking
works...
kids playing Game Boys in the hallway of their school. Of course it's going to have a nostalgia kick. But it still just stands independently of its time and place, I think. For me, again, I have a pretty low bar for stuff like this, I guess. But the cover art rules, the cast is incredible. Piper Laurie's wonderful. Everyone in this film is killing it. I love Sean Hattersley in this film. I think it's Elijah Wood's best performance. I've already said that. I don't like, a lot of what Josh Hartnett doesn't really do it for me, and I wouldn't say that I love him as an actor, but I think he's great. Clea Duvall's really compelling. Everyone knocks it fucking miles out of the stadium for me. So yeah, it's a heavy hitter in my memory banks and in my current experience of an old movie. Anyway, what a fucking movie. Munch that popcorn, have yourself a couple of Friday night beers, and enjoy yourself a little bit of The Faculty.
Yeah. And once you've done that, go to your social media app of choice and make sure that you're following us at FT Horror Show. You can do that on Instagram, TikTok, you can do it on Threads, you can do it on Blue Sky. Do it wherever you want. You might not see any posts, but you'll see some if you do it in the right places. Make sure you go over to wherever you're listening to this now. Subscribe if you're not already. Make sure you have automatic downloads turned on.
Yep.
Leave us a rate. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think. We love to hear from you. That rhymed by accident.
Well done. Rate, review, subscribe.
Yeah. Rate, review, subscribe. And we'll see you next time for more of the same.